Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's presentation. My name is Evangelysm, and you are listening to the Evangelysm podcast, and I'm here to share my love of raiding for priests and generally having fun in the world of Warcraft and spending too much time in Azeroth, the Outlands, and more recently in Draenor. Today is Wednesday, the 11th of February, 2015, and in the past week, I have mostly been working in real life, which is rather dull. I have actually been promoting the podcast as well, though, so it hasn't all been just work. I've also been gearing up my other priest, Evangelysm, who's on Azune, not on Shadowsong, which are connected realms, and yes, I've got two priests on the same technical realm with two names the same. This little other priest is a dwarf rather than human, and I've been doing some more relaxed style raiding in Highmall with the wonderful folks in the guild that I'm in on that priest. The guild name is Cotton Candy, and they're on Shadowsong and Azune, merged, connected realm, whatever you want to call it. And it's a really different kind of fun thing to do. Raid at a completely different level with different people. It's sort of fun and refreshing, but at the same time, I still do love the high-end technical progression raiding that I do with my main guild, Exhumed, who've been raiding in Blackrock Foundry this week. We made some good progress in the one day that we actually got to raid. We got two bosses down. We took on Grill and we took on Darmak, the Beast Lord, or whatever his name is. Darmak was an interesting fight. We did it wrong on the kill that we actually had. We had a little bit of a ninja pull, and we did the fight completely the wrong way, and it worked for us. So we've decided to do it that way every time now, which is kind of fun. Gruel was an odd fight because it was pretty much the same fight as it was way back in TBC in Outland. There were a couple of mechanic changes, of course. He now puts spikes up your yin-yang. He throws your split set of spikes out to one particular direction, aimed at a particular person, and as we split into two groups, it mainly means that half the raid has to move to sidestep, and while still avoiding the cave-in, which can get tricky, but that was about it, really. And that was it. There was one other mechanic change. In the Outland version, in the original version of the Gruel fight, he used to pound the ground, everyone used to fly up in the air and get petrified, and that was fun back in the day, because I had a really crap computer. And then you just had to spread out. Now, in this one, he just picks on a certain number of people to do that, which is a little more lame, in my opinion. They've actually nerfed that part of the fight, and I'd really like it if they hadn't done that, but they have. But hey, so we killed him, and we killed Darmak, and that was on night one. And we sort of went in blind because there was really, really not much information in the way of strategy guides. So we sort of went in a little bit blind. There was some, but we sort of made it up as we went along. And then we went in night two. Well, we would have gone in night two, but myself and about 2/3 of the raid team actually couldn't log on. On the EU, and we had major server problems. People couldn't log on. It was actually like the launch period all over again. You were logged in, you logged out, which is actually what I did. Got kicked out rather than logged out though. But people were trying to log in and it was character not found. And we thought, okay, yeah, it's 5 minutes and it'll all be fixed. No. We'd basically lost all of our second night's worth of raiding, and it's kind of knocked us down in the server realm list, the ranking list, so we're not quite as progressed as we would like to be, because we're only two bosses down. We did sort of cheat because we do have a second raid team, and what we did is on most of our main, well I say most, about half of the mains from the main raid team went and raided Sunday and Monday night in normal Blackrock, which has given us a little bit more experience and a little bit more gear upgrades, because despite the 5 item level drop from Heroic Highmall to normal Blackrock, you've got set bonuses and actually better itemized gear in Highmall. So a lot of people have picked up 2-piece sets, which is great because it'll all help the output. Unfortunately, because of work, I wasn't able to raid Monday, but I saw a few more bosses, and we got big plans and hopes, dreams for the raid tonight that we're doing in Blackrock, which is all great. The other thing that I've been doing while I've been at work, because I'll mention it before, I work Saturdays and Sundays, or I work this Saturday and Sunday day shift, and it's really quite quiet at work on a Saturday and Sunday day shift. Not many people are around to break things, so things don't break. And what I was able to do was go through some of the raid guides that have appeared since last week. So I've been doing a little bit of prep work on the bosses that we're looking at tonight, so that we can hopefully make some nice progress there. And that's pretty much all I've been doing this raid week. I've not done leveling of alts or anything. It's just been sort of all work, and a little bit of play on the podcast promotion side. So let's hope for tonight. We've got big dreams and we're going to go in there and kick some butt. Hopefully. Anyway, in the rest of today's show, what I'm going to cover is a little bit of Raiden news and some priest news for the first time. Oh yeah. I'm going to cover some other things in my Talk section, which I'm going to call. I'm going to make you listen to my thoughts on Twitter coming into WoW. So in 6.1, Twitter integration is coming into WoW, and I'm going to just go through that. And there's been a lot of badness, in fairness, about that subject. People generally don't like it. I would go through my mailbox later on after that, and then finally my tips of the week will be coming through right at the end of the show. But now it's time for the news.
Strike by air shuttle officers led to over 2,000 passengers being held up for up to 10 hours to board flight. 10 Euro technicians were today sentenced by the Justice.
And now the news. Today we have 3 pieces of news to cover because it's been generally a really quiet news week. We're going to cover a little bit of priest news from the patch notes. That's coming later. And before that, we'll cover some raiding news. But first of all, we have some news from Blizzard. If you remember, back in November when the expansion launched, Blizzard were pleased as punch to announce that WoW subscriptions had risen back to the mighty 10 million members. And at the end of December, Blizzard are even prouder to announce that they'd maintained that membership for a whole month. Now, maybe I'm cynical, maybe I am, but a month after the expansion launched, everything was new and shiny still. People were in the garrisons, people had leveled up, they'd geared up for raiding at the beginning of December, people were all for it, so they renewed their subscription if they were paying it on a monthly basis. So of course, the subscriptions are going to be stable at 10 million. Everyone had got 5 free days, hell. And then there's the people that didn't initially subscribe, and then got wind of the news of how wonderful this new expansion is. And of course, what did they do? They subscribed too. And of course, there's the drop-off as well. There are some people that will not subscribe again because they had their free month, they leveled and they completed the game in their eyes. But Blizzard have announced that in one whole month, they didn't manage to lose any subscribers. Sorry, but mate, yeah, I'm cynical. I'd love to know what those figures are now because there is a little bit of rot set in. People have got bored with doing the garrisons. There is no real content outside of raiding or PvE. And the big carrot for PvPers was Ashran. And to be honest, Ashran isn't as good as it ought to have been. Yesterday, I needed 200 conquest points to cap for the week. I've done some RBGs, I've done some arenas, and I was 200 conquest points short, and the only way I could fill that gap was to run Ashran. I queued for 2.5 hours trying to get those conquest points. It wasn't because my realm's really busy. It's just the way Ashran seems to work. It is pretty damn slow getting into Ashran. It needs to be fixed. Blizzard have said that they're going to fix it in 6.1 and only time will tell on that. But I was in Ashran for 25 minutes to get 200 conquest points. And the fact that I had to wait for 2.5 hours to get those points is absolutely crippling. And I'm sure that the subscriptions have dropped because even if you don't PvP, if you don't raid, there is pretty much nothing in the game once you've dinged 100. There are garrisons and that will keep you playing if you are the sort of the OCD type like myself, that you complete your missions and you just keep sending missions. And that's what a lot of people must be doing. They must just simply be logging on to complete garrison missions and then logging back off. That's not what the white game of World of Warcraft is all about, folks. Seriously, I'm sure they must be leaking membership subscriptions out of every orifice that they've got in this big, massive subscriber bucket. And I'm sure that's why they have delayed the Blackrock Foundry raid. I'm sure that's why they're dangling the big carrot of 6.1 in front of us. It's there on the PTR. Carrots dangled, but when we don't know when we're getting it. And is there really that much content in there? I don't believe there is from what I've seen. But again, I'll give them credit. I'll give them the benefit of doubt until I've been proven wrong. All right. But I don't think that at the end of quarter 1 for 2015, Blizzard are going to be announcing that, yes, we've got 10 or more million subscribers. I think we're going to be down to 6 or 7 again. And that breaks my heart because I do love this game. I do. I hope I'm getting that passion through. I do love this game. So let's hope that I'm wrong. I'd love being wrong in situations like this, but I don't think I am. But on brighter news, this week we see Mythic difficulty opening up on Blackrock Foundry. Unfortunately, my guild isn't there yet, but I've explained that in the previous part, and I shan't go over that again. We killed 2 bosses, one night, no more raiding. And the real shock for a lot of people will be the fact that there is no LFR this week. So people that have killed Blackhand on Heroic will have some new content. Everyone else will not. Sure, as I say, guilds like myself, well, players in guilds like myself, will have some more content because we haven't cleared Blackrock Foundry yet. But the people that can't get into Blackrock Foundry because they don't raid and they're not in a raiding guild, they haven't got time to commit, there is no LFR for them. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of people complaining about that. But for those people, patience, because Blackrock Foundry LFR is coming next week. But it's only the first wing, but hey, you choose. Or no, do not choose LFR. And now, finally, in show number 2, my first pieces of priest news. In 6.1, Saving Grace, one of the priest level 100 talents, the one that no one ever actually takes, is being buffed by 50% and becoming an instant cast spell. It's currently 1.5 second cast time with the global cooldown, so it really doesn't matter if it's 1.5 seconds or 1.4 seconds with your haste buffed. It is every 1.5 seconds you can cast the spell, but it is a hard cast. But as I say, in 6.1, the hard cast is going, it's instant, which is a big buff. Now, with the 50% buff to the spell, it would be pretty much insane in PvP, in RBGs and arenas. So, what they've said is that in PvP combat, once the 50% buff's been applied, a 33% nerf is going to be applied to it. And really all that means is that the output of it will be exactly the same as it is today, except you've got an instant cast spell. Now, Saving Grace on Evangelysm, I currently get about 35,000, give or take a few hundred, out of a cast time of 1.5 seconds. So in 6.1, what that'll become is 52,500 HP heal, which is quite nice as an instant spell. And in PvP, it will stay at the same 35,000 that it is today. So the only real gain for the PvPers is the global cooldown is just applied. They still have to wait the 1.5 seconds. You just get the debuff at the end. And it is good because it becomes uninterruptible. But there is a debuff on that spell because, and I should have mentioned this earlier, the Saving Grace spell itself heals a friendly target for 630% of your spell power and reduces all absorbs and healing done by that priest. So the priest that casts it gets a reduction of all their future heals for the next 8 seconds by 10%. And that stacks up to 10 times, which in reality is about 7, because you've got the global cooldown restricting everything. So what that actually means is if you were to just stand there spamming it, after 6 casts, it becomes 26,250 heal. And that's in PvE. In PvP, that figure drops dramatically down to 17,500 as a heal, and that's really not good. So for raid healing, as a disc priest, this is going to become a real viable alternative to Words of Mendon, as long as you don't use the spell too much. So it basically becomes a panic button heal. And that's not too bad. But as I say, for the next 8 seconds, all of your spells are going to be reduced in their power. So it might be good to throw on a tank when you're needing to run a debuff out or something like that, where you're not really focused on healing. But it's definitely not going to be an ability that you spam. But that's coming in 6.1, and I don't know that I'll use it. I might do. I haven't seen all of the raid bosses in Blackrock Foundry yet, and that might change my opinion on that. But personally, depending on whether I'm raid healing, because if I'm raid healing, I stick Words of Mending as my level 100 talent. And if I'm tank healing, I use Clarity of Will because it is an enormous bubble that you can pre-shield, and that on a tank is godlike. So I don't think I'll be changing my style. I'll give it a go. I'm sure I'll keep an eye out for it on certain bosses. It might be the actual default number 100 talent. We'll see. And that concludes the news. And next, we have Talk. So now it's time for the main event, my topic of the week, Twitter integration into the world of Warcraft. In patch 6.1, Blizzard have given us the ability to link a Twitter account to your WoW account and send tweets from inside the world of Warcraft. Now this includes the ability to attach a screenshot. Now for those of you out there that may have not have heard of Twitter, and there may be some of you, I'm guessing there may be some, maybe not, but there may be. Now what Twitter is, it's an online social networking service that enables users to send and read short messages of up to 140 characters that are called tweets. Don't know why they're called tweets, but the name probably comes from Twitter, but I don't know why it's called Twitter either. But that's an irrelevance. And that service was launched in 2006. So it's hardly a new fad thing. If you've used Facebook, it's like Facebook status messages, but you're limited to 140 characters. Now, the general idea is that you set up your Twitter account and you follow people like yourself, and some people follow famous people as well. And what you do is you read their status update messages, and you're able to share with them your status update messages. Now, if you follow someone famous, chances are they won't follow you back, because they're just not interested in little old you or me. But in the world of Warcraft, we have this community, and a lot of people follow each other to see various things. Blog posts, podcast feeds, general rubbish that anyone sends to put as a status update in the Twitter. Now, WoW isn't the first game to do this. In fact, as far back as in Rift, which was in 2011 when that launched, that actually launched with Twitter integration built in. And you were able to push screenshots and push normal status updates out that way. And personally, when I played Rift, I liked that. I liked it a lot because it meant that I didn't need to leave the game to post things about the game into Twitter. And the UI was sort of unobtrusive. When you took a screenshot, you could just tweet it. Now, I've seen the actual UI elements for World of Warcraft's version of the Twitter integration, and it looks okay. There's nothing fantastic about it. It doesn't seem to pop up every time you take a screenshot, would you like to tweet this? So if you're not a Twitter user, you aren't actually going to notice anything has actually changed within the game. But if you tweet about the game already, you're going to love this feature, because it's simply saving you the effort of grabbing your phone or alt-tabbing out of the game to do what you already do. And it's hard to attach a screenshot to your tweet if you use your phone. So at least you're going to have that built-in ability, which would stop you having to alt-tab out of the game. Now, there are, of course, concerns. And there's many people that have put up arguments on the forums about it. Now, one of the first ones that I've heard podcasters as well, and people in blogs, as well as people on the forums, have gone, oh my God, my Twitter account will start spamming everyone I know with every single achievement. Well, it might do. I'm not saying it won't, but it probably won't. And even if you can, I'm sure there is a way in the game that you can throttle what it tweets. And if there isn't, you just simply unlock one link, your Twitter account from your WoW account, and just carry on and tweet as you do now. No harm, no foul. Now, another argument that I've seen out there is, well, I don't want to see everyone else's tweet spam. Well, if you don't see their tweet spam already, they're not liable to start tweet spamming you now. So I really don't see how that is an argument. But if someone does start tweet spamming your feed, there's two options you've got. You can unfollow them, or you can let them know that their spam is annoying, because they might not actually realise how often the game is spamming tweets out. I mean, hell, I know this one from personal experience. Back, it must be 2 or 3 years ago now, I messed around with the RSS feed that you can grab out of the World of Warcraft. If you look at the armory, there's a what your character has done recently tab, and I've managed to get a feed from that, and I linked it to my Twitter account. and it spammed my followers with every epic that I looted, every raid boss that I killed, every achievement that I obtained on my main and on my alts. And this wasn't just for the current expansion, oh no. It was from all expansions, and as someone that likes to actually do fun runs for achievements and transmog runs with my guildmates, we were running through ICC, Ulduar, Molten Core, Blackwing Lair, and every single thing that I did from those runs was tweeted. That's a lot of tweets. And I got a lot of complaints that I couldn't defend. It was all justified. So what I did was I just disabled that link between that RSS feed and my Twitter account. Deleted it, threw it away, and never went back. So that's all you need to do if that is what the game does now. So again, no harm, no foul. There is a quick, easy solution. Now, there are of course concerns, and perhaps these are genuine ones, that Blizzard are going to start using the old tweet this to win this. So tweet about a Warlord's Battle Pet and win a new Warlord's Battle Pet or a mount or whatever. Tweet your favourite character for 100 free garrison resources. That's one actual suggestion that I've seen on the forums, and that one was quite good. Now, that is just the old slippery slope argument. And if you remember way back when in Wrath, can you remember that retarded horse coming out, the Total Biscuit thing? The Twilight Sparkle Pony, I think it was called, by the lovely Anne Stickney. That was when? When was that? When was that? Hang on. That was back in April 2010. And there was predictions of doom and gloom, and we would be able to buy player power, and that was 5 years ago, and that just simply hasn't happened. So I don't think anything that Twitter integration will bring to the game will actually break it. And if Blizzard do make it so that you can win things and get in-game resources by tweeting, if it is 100 free garrison resources, is it really that much of a problem? Does it become compulsory to do it? Well, no. It's only viewed as a compulsory thing by the people that deem it to be compulsory. But sorry, but I've got 10,000 garrison resources already, and I can't spend them fast enough. I'm trying my hardest to get rid of them. I'm buying my extra rolls with them. That's 900 a week that I'm just throwing away. And I've still got the garrison resource cache that I'm not emptying. So it's not a major problem. Really, it isn't. Others are concerned that when we kill a raid boss or make an achievement, it'll pop up and say, "You want to share this with your friends?" Well, I'm pretty damn sure that it won't. But even if it does, and it annoys you that much, just unlink your Twitter account from it. It will stop. And if it doesn't stop, there is something really wrong with it. And I really can't see Blizzard trying to upset people with the Twitter integration. So if it annoys you that you've got all this Twitter integration because you've linked your Twitter account, unlink your Twitter account. Simples. You do not have to use every feature that is in the game just because it's there. There are, of course, concerns, again, quite genuine, that add-on authors will be able to hook into the API and seize control of your Twitter account. And this, it's unlikely to happen. Again, I'm going to keep saying it. It's unlikely to happen, but it isn't impossible. But it is impossible if you create two scenarios. One, you don't put any add-ons that is going to interfere with Twitter. And two, you don't link your Twitter account. If it is that much of a concern to you that you think that this might happen, don't link your Twitter account. Don't download the add-on. It's really not that hard. And for that reason, I am going to be a great user of this feature. I won't tweet any more than I do now. I won't tweet any more screenshots than I do now. I just don't need to come out of the game to do it. It is, once again, it's that lifestyle change. It's that convenience factor of just being able to do something that you already do in the game. There's no need for an add-on. There is no need to leave the game or anything. You can just go, "Oh, I wanted to tweet this." Tweet, done. Simple. So for my money, it's all good. If there are things that you don't want, there are simple steps to stop it being annoying. To stop it even happening in the first place, just don't link your Twitter account. It is the easy solution to every single possible problem. If you are getting spammed by people with their Twitter accounts, unfollow them. Make them aware that you're going to unfollow them because of their Twitter activity from the World of Warcraft game. And for me, that is the simple solution to everything here. So I'm all for it. What are your views? Let me know. Tweet me at evangelismcast or email me podcast@evlix.co.uk and let me know. Maybe we can have a discussion about it over Twitter. Hey, if you're using Twitter, we can discuss it. If you're not, email me and I will discuss it on the show next week. And now it's time for something completely different as we delve into my mailbox.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Unfortunately, I've not had any mail or any questions sent to me via the Twitter. So, I'm going to answer a question that I've been asked a few times by people in the past. And it's the name Evangelism. Where does it come from? Now, back in 2010, in January I believe it was, 2010, I started a blog and needed a name for it. Now, back then, I was a humble priest. Well, I'm still a humble priest now. But I was looking for a trendy, catchy name. Now, obviously my character's name is Evangelysm. A priest, when they die in holy form, look like an angel. And there was a spell called evangelism. There was also the fact that we were about to embark on the Cataclysm expansion, and I thought, I could combine all of this into one name. So, but rather than spelling it, evangelism with an I got tricksy. Oh yeah. I decided to put a Y in, as you do in Cataclysm. So it's Evangelysm, Angel, and Cataclysm all rolled into one to actually reproduce the name Evangelism, as in the priest spell, and it's also because I really wanted to preach to people and evangelize to them all. So it sort of fitted many, many ways round, and that's where the name comes from, and I've stuck with it. It's just one of them things that I've basically built a brand around the name Evangelysm and Evangelism. So that's that simple question answered. Another question that I was asked today by one of my guildies again, a gentleman goes by the name of Yami, one of our warlocks. He wanted to know whether I was going to have guests on the show. Now, at the moment, I really don't know whether guests would want to come on my show. And this type of show that I'm actually trying to build is that the monologue from someone who's very opinionated, and that is me. And I don't know whether a guest would work on the show or not. So, really, the answer at the moment to you, Yami, is I've got no plans to bring guests onto the show because I'm not sure that I'm worthy of doing such things. And there could be a time when I'll get people begging to come on my show. So let's hope that in the future that does happen. But until then, I'm not certain that it ever will. So we'll leave it there. Now, that really is all the mail I've got. If you want to contribute to the show in any way, if you need to get in touch with me, if you want to object to something that I've said, if you want to add to something I've said, if you want to even suggest a subject for my Talk section, please do get in touch. The email address is podcast@evlix.co.uk. The show Twitter account is @evangelismcast, which is EVANGELYSM, cast, CAST. So it's Evangelism Cast, all one word. And that will come straight through to the show headquarters here. And if you want to tweet me on my personal one, it's just simply @Evangelysm. So we'll wrap up today's show with heading off into our tip section.
This is how we do it. All hands are in the air.
Welcome, and now we're back into the priest tip section. Now, What we're going to look at today is the Tier 15 Priest Talents. Now, last week we looked at very basic what a priest can do. And there's two specs. There's the disc spec, the holy spec, and of course the shadow. Now, for the Tier 15 talents, there is no difference between them for all three specs. So they're basically all the same. And what this tier does, it's basically your get out of jail free card. It's your panic button, you save your backside when you're about to die thing. You've got three options. The first option in the list, purely going on that, I'm not going in my preference order, it is Desperate Prayer. Desperate Prayer heals the caster, i.e. you, the priest, for 22% of your maximum health on a button press. It's an instant spell, it's on a 2-minute cooldown, and it will give you a nice juicy fat heal. It's really good in both PvE and PvP when you're not getting a heal for whatever reason and you're about to die. Pop the Desperate Prayer, shield yourself, run away using crowd control, use fear, use roots, whatever you need to do, depending on what's hitting you. And you're away, you've got the shield, you're running away, and you're able to put a 22% of your maximum health heal on you. That is quite good. The next option is Spectral Guise. Now, Spectral Guise is a little bit weird, because it's not really something that's very priesty. What it is, it allows you to vanish, like a rogue does. But instead of just vanishing and disappearing completely, what it does, it leaves a copy of you behind. So you can vanish and run away. Now, the stealth part of the spell lasts for 6 seconds, which is plenty time to get a fair distance away from whatever's wailing on you. Now, the version of you that you get left behind can only receive 3 attacks before you will be brought out of stealth. But again, like I say, it's plenty of time. Whoever's wailing on you is probably so intent on, oh yes, I've nearly killed this priest, bang, 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 bang. And you're halfway across the map in 6 seconds. Well, three melee swings probably. So you can get away and you can save your backside. And again, if you can root the target, and power word shield yourself, especially if you've got the surge of I forgot the name of the ability, the body and soul ability, which we'll cover next week. You've got a sprint while in stealth, so you activate that, sprint away. It's a really good PvP ability, more than a PvE one. Really have never found a good use for it in PvE, except for doing challenge modes back in Mr. Pandaria. It was a really good way of getting out of combat and being able to drink. So we used to cheese that a little bit. And then the final ability on this tier is Angelic Bulwark. Now, Angelic Bulwark is my personal favourite. The main reason it's my personal favourite is because it's a lazy ability. It's a passive ability. And what happens when you select that talent is when your character is brought to below 30% health, you gain an absorption shield equal to 15% of your maximum health for 20 seconds. Now, in PvE, that normally is an ability that kills you, and then you've got 15% of your health as a shield, so it doesn't kill you. You get this Angelic Bulwark. Oh my god, it's just procced. Penance yourself, shield yourself, and you're back in action, and you've saved yourself from a death. That's why I like that ability. In PvP, it's not such a great talent to have, and in certain PvE encounters, it is actually bad. I remember Amber Shaper in Heart of Fear. If you became the target of the monstrosity, if you became the monstrosity, when you needed to get down to 20% health. But any attack that takes you down below 30% puts this massive shield on you. So people had to break through that shield before they could then actually get you the last 10% health down. So it was quite dangerous. So I had to spec out of it for that particular encounter. But that is, in a nutshell, the first tier, the survivability tier of the priest talents. My personal favourite, as I say, is Angelic Bulwark. A lot of high-end priests, when they're raiding, use Desperate Prayer. It is on a longer cooldown, because it's 2 minutes compared to Angelic Bulwark's 90 seconds, but you are in full control of when you use it. I have to wait until I'm taken down below 30%, and that could cause problems, but like I said, I'm a little bit lazy. It's something that, as a raid leader, I wouldn't expect any other priest to use it. But sometimes my focus isn't where it needs to be, which is on me, because I'm looking at what 3 other people are doing and trying to keep a tank alive and keep the raid alive. So I do cheese out and go for the easy option because it's a passive ability. It's not bad, but I would personally recommend going for Desperate Prayer because you're in full control of it. And in PvP situations, Spectral Guise is the one you want, because it allows you as a healer to get away from being ganked. When you're the focus, use Spectral Guise, dump the aggro, leave something behind, run away. It buys you valuable seconds in a fight. And in an arena, it can be the difference between winning and losing. So that is the Priest Talents Tier 1. Next week we shall cover the Priest Talents Tier 2. But for now, this is the end of the show, and I'd like to thank you all for listening. And just if you need to get in touch with the show, I'll go over the contact details again. It is podcast@evelix.co.uk. The show Twitter account is EvangelysmCast, and my personal Twitter account is @Evelix.